Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Thomas. Today we're back here with Phantom Strider. Today, well, time for bad movies again. We got Abysmal animated ripoff sequels. So yeah, basically the sequels to great animated films, but not made by the actual company. Think bootleg sequels, I guess you could say. Or sequel bootlegs? I don't know. What do you want to call it, you know? So, this is gonna be interesting. I think Thomas Tank Engine had a bad sequel, but let's just see what happens. Be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoy. Here we go.
You know, it's bold enough for companies to make mockbuster ripoffs to well-known movies, but it's outright deranged when they make sequels to those ripoff movies. And what we end up with is among the most twisted, abysmal mockbusters I've ever seen. Very occasionally, these sequels are even approved by the original creators, but they can still end up abhorrent massacres of animation that are never spoken of again. So, these are the abysmal animated ripoff sequels. First, we'll talk about the ripoff movie sequel you might be here for, Arthur's Missing Pal. After, if you want to stick around, I'll talk about some other catastrophic ripoff sequels. Now, let's see what awaits us. First off is Arthur's Missing Pal. How'd the IMDb put it, hun?
This movie is vomitrocious.
Yeah, vomitrocious is the best way to sum up this animation. Arthur and his friends look like overstuffed Play-Doh piles that are about to melt in the sun. This direct-to-DVD fever dream was meant to be a continuation of the main Arthur series on PBS. Ridgecrest Animation made it, who are also known for the movie Swan Princess. They were okay with 2D animation, but clearly they were not ready for 3D. I was shocked to discover that apparently Mark Brown's studio was also at least approving of it, who was the original creator of Arthur. But it is worth noting that after this beast, Arthur never appeared in CG again. 2D animation only for his entire 26-year run, except for this. Maybe when Mark Brown saw the unsightly abomination his creation had transformed into, he decided to never allow Arthur in CG again. And you know, I do the same.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Muffy Crosswire.
Oh, lucky you told me, otherwise I would have thought the mush in my microwave had come alive and you were trying to kill me. I feel legitimately sick looking at this overly rounded Happy Meal grot.
This is disgusting!
And I'm definitely not the only one who had mixed reviews on this movie. I felt the top comment on the trailer was very apt in capturing the public opinion.
I legit thought this was a dream I had. I'm horrified to see it's real.
So many people.
Like, when people compare this to, like, a nightmare you have, and it's like, oh my god, it's real! Ah! Good lord. Like, seriously. Mark Brown's, like, not checked to see. Like, I don't like some films, like, people don't even bother looking at see how they look. Like, you know, how me and Trip did, you know, Rhapsody Street Kids, and how we showed that, you know, they never looked. I'm just saying, sometimes you gotta think, like, okay, is this even look... Okay, can we see what we're showing before we do it? Oh. Okay, let's just go back to our regular animation studio, because this sucks ass. Like, seriously, ugh.
Forgot this movie ever existed. But it's real, alright,
even I was
and the
like,
nightmare story
really?
is kept excruciatingly simple. Arthur's dog Pal is missing, and hence the title, and they play detective to find him. That's about it. That is, at best, a 10-minute story. But this thing is dragged out for over an hour.
Are you lying? No.
One eternity later.
Not lying.
Do something! Do something!
Do something!
And it's so syrupy, sweet, and corny in presentation, I had to take breaks to stop myself retching in a bucket.
This is a bucket.
Dear God. There's more.
No.
Even the music is obnoxiously noisy and energetic. Ugh. And all these impersonating voice actors don't even remotely match the originals. But at least the original voice actor for Buster returns. He's got nothing to work with, but he's back. The dialogue he's given can be summarized as, "Look at me, I'm silly." I guess technically this movie can be called canon, but the original Arthur series was known for being honest, memorable, raw, and relatable. By comparison, this movie's superficial pig-swill dialogue belongs nowhere near PBS.
Can I hear it?
In fact, only 2 of the original voice actors are present, and there's been this creepy radio silence about this movie for nearly 20 years.
Damn.
If Mark Brown Studios hadn't been supposedly some part of production, I'd say in every way, shape, and
This is a
form, this
blockbuster.
movie is a ripoff. I really agree with
Exactly.
Josh Van Housen's review on it.
Yeah.
It misses the
atrocious.
spirit of the original show and characters. If I had saw this
close.
before the Arthur TV show, I never would have gone near anything Arthur ever again.
Finding Jeebus 2.
There is a sequel
I
to that?
so wanted to skip this one, but I'm no coward. Sorry in advance for the watermark. It was not easy to find an uncensored version of this quote-unquote movie, so I just kinda had to make do. You know, although my favorite town, Bikini Bottom, may be a more secular place, did you know their Reef neighbor takes a more heavy-handed approach to religion?
It's more like a sledgehammer approach.
Pretty much.
Or a giant steamroller approach. So, just to confirm,
Ow.
did they find Jesus in the first movie? I assume
Got
if
it.
the movie is called Finding Jesus, you know, they find Jesus. In fact, this was a top Google question when I first looked up this movie.
How do they find Jesus in Finding Jesus 2?
It's a perfectly practical question. How do they finally find the guy? Does the
Doubt
carpenter
it.
fish them up from the sea?
This is ridiculous.
No.
Why would
I'm
Jesus
on the
of
Strider.
Nazareth be under the sea? I mean, he's near the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea doesn't have fish in it because it's the Dead Sea. So why would all the fish be there? And why would he be there? He was a fisher of men. It just doesn't make sense. It's stupid.
Mum, I think you put 10 times more consideration into where they find Jesus than they did.
Clearly, this is really annoying me. Now, I want to find out, how did they find Jesus?
Anyway, looking at it, you can
maybe some
probably
other
tell they were trying to capitalize on
Really?
Finding Nemo. But given how difficult this was to find on any streaming service, I think WoW Now Entertainment may have failed miserably. Showing some cosmic
See ya.
justice occasionally comes around in a universe of chaos and randomness.
These fish think
He'd
it's
rather
all
not.
perfectly planned by some guy they call God.
Huh, what do you mean?
God's plan is perfect, whether we realize it or not.
Oh, thank you for explaining to
And
me,
that
creepily
again.
smiling dead-eyed starfish. But I think the
Look at it.
starving South African child that dies of malaria every 1 minute may disagree with you. But according to you, they just have to have faith that their religious deity's plan is perfect. You know, you should explain this to the United Nations and global foreign aid. Think of the billions of dollars our country could save each year.
I know, honey. It's bad.
Sorry, I think after the
We know.
last 5 years, I just snapped a bit on that line. Eventually on this stuff, I just can't suspend my common sense any longer.
Feel like stuff
Anyway,
like
I wish
this
I could
movie
say
makes people
something
go
interesting
atheist. I
about this
swear to
wreck,
God.
but the sequel is just more of these
Sell this
two
to a Catholic,
Finding
they'd be like,
Nemo rejects,
"God's not
muggles
real."
and joy, spreading
Like-
their creepy smiles and biblical
Just
quotes.
saying.
All for fixing the most superficial, sheltered quote-unquote dilemmas in the history of animation. But the most fascinating part of these movies is the voices.
It's another beautiful day, and baby fish muggles and joy are swimming carefree.
Ma'am, I ask earnestly,
Oh,
just
here.
what happened with this intonation? The voice acting is so broken that I literally cannot understand sentences that are in plain English. It sounds more like I'm listening to marbles bouncing down the stairs. I think Yale Cullen on Letterboxd defined the voice acting quite
Go ahead.
well.
The imitation accent sounds like a drunk person poorly imitating another drunk person who's poorly imitating drunk Crocodile
Crocodile
Dundee.
You got that right, Joy, and there's no one I'd rather spend it with than you.
Oh,
Yeah,
blasphemy!
that's
Wouldn't you
close.
rather spend it with your religious leader, Jesus? I hear you're looking for him. Anyway, the quote-unquote Professor Shark has another mission.
8-Ball's got some business upstairs. Or maybe you could do me a favor.
Mr. Sushi needs friendly cheer, and who better to cheer them up than the prefrontally challenged dead-eyed horrors spreading the word of their religion? So they set out as therapists for Jesus. Their words, not mine.
We should be therapists.
Therapist for Jesus.
You might remember Mr. Sushi if you ever saw my video for Finding Jesus 1. But did you know his voice makes children hide in terror under their bed sheets?
How's it going?
It's not. How are you guys?
Why? Well, his voice is the most cringingly racist thing I've ever heard since the 1960s Bugs Bunny cartoons.
See? I don't know what I did
Can
to
we just
deserve that.
I guess no one from Japan was actually willing to
Shouldn't we
voice
dispute
this
that guy
cinematic
just be safe?
carnage. Like, holy cow, could you tell he was Japanese by the flag on his head? I know I wear an Australian flag on my head to tell people I'm from Australia.
Wow!
It's honestly hard to tell if the creators of WoW Now Entertainment are sincerely trying to make a religiously uplifting animated movie, or they're secretly trying to convert people to Buddhism.
We just got into a bad argument with Mr. Sushi, who apparently doesn't like being our neighbor at all.
Shock and horror.
Not
Someone doesn't like
surprised
being a
with you
neighbor
two
with them.
talk about
Fun
Jesus
fact,
every
according
5
to my
minutes.
limited resources,
Or maybe 5
this movie
seconds.
originally had 20 minutes censored out of it. And you can probably decipher why from the watermarked uncensored version.
Plant life while you're chasing jellyfish with your nubby little teeth.
Holy cow,
Wow.
that's grotesque. Anyway,
You
Finding Jeebus 2
racist
commits the ultimate
bitch.
atrocity of not only being stupid.
Oh, for God's sake, finding Jesus in the sea, it's just unabashedly, unflinchingly stupid writing.
Yes, it's that.
Thank
But it's
you,
also
Mama Straight.
simultaneously insulting, passive-aggressive, racially prejudiced, and really annoying at the same time. One had some
it's not
novelty
like
in its
there's just,
insanity
like,
for 20
see ya.
minutes, but Finding Jeebus 2 is among the worst animated movies I've reviewed in years. Our next ripoff
Moving on,
is
thank you.
Happily Never After 2. Snow White, another bite at the apple. Oh, because the apple bite went so well the first time for you, didn't it? You not only got poisoned and killed, but the stranger kissed you to resurrect you. Personally, I needed the paddles, but I'm glad your tactic worked so well. Shrek 2 was made in 2004, and Happily Never After 2 was made in 2006. And it quite closely rips off the Far, Far Away world in Shrek 2.
It's ugly too.
Both movies look a bit like if a fan fiction of Shrek 2 and Disney's Snow White got chucked into a garbage compactor. And yes, for some reason I made a fan fiction on the Trollcaster wiki to complement this joke. You might remember from the Shrek series, Fiona had a friend called Snow White as well. I feel like someone said, we should make a movie out of that Snow White. She's so interesting. This Snow White...
But that was 3, I think? Yeah, 3, because I don't even see Snow White and Shrek till then. And remember, this was 2006. Just check Shrek 3 1 sec, or Shrek the Third. That was the only one I remember. Like, hold on. Third, let's see. 2007, yeah. A year after. Not even close. Yeesh. I swear, sometimes they just added that in. I don't know what's going on anymore. Oh, damn. Come on.
What we have here is a bit of a teenage troublemaker. She goes out partying all night with the other princesses and gasp, she doesn't wear a robe. Anyway, the twist this time is that Snow White eats an apple that doesn't kill her. Instead, it makes her speak rudely about everyone she knows, and she becomes a social pariah that is booted out of town. But she stumbles upon the dwarves and they teach her to start helping people. Honestly, I think this is a creative modern take on the original 1812 story, and I kinda like this story better than the original, even if the presentation is garbage. But the movie's also very weird, meandering, and just awkward. But hey, maybe other reviewers could appreciate it more than I could. How are the reviews, huh?
Worst fairy tale sequel ever.
Oh, well that's not a good start.
We came across these films on HB Go, so my daughter and I gave them a watch. Snow White grows up into a teen that resembles the Kardashians, but she learns to be kinder. It's not a must-see, but it's a unique way to display characters they already know. Find me a queen, C-.
And I agree on that, C-. It's probably the best of these sequel lookalikes, but that's not a high bar to clear. Oh, what ad is this? What terrible clickbait piece of garbage gambling mobile game will I soullessly parrot to you? No, fortunately it's not paid Shudder Legends that sponsor me. I really hate that game. Instead, my patrons now sponsor my channel. Like a dedicated paramedic, my patrons have given my shambling corpse the paddles and kept my YouTube channel striding forward. They've kept me from disappearing and me becoming, gasp, a full-time plumber and social worker. This has kept me able to bring you regular videos, charity live streams, and it's kept me doing what I'm truly passionate about. I even finally made my personal passion project busting autism myths. If you'd like to help me keep making these videos and live streams and get exclusive Patreon videos or early videos for a couple of bucks a month, feel free to check out the Patreon link below. With that said, thanks for your patience and let's continue. Our next choice is the Little Cars 2 Roadopolis Adventure. Adventure is a strong word, but I do have good news and bad news. The good news is this ripoff has a different story to Cars 2. The bad news is this movie was made by Video Brinquado. And the jumbled story feels like the voice actors are just making up random dialogue as they go along.
Tony won that race without the champ's help?
Why was I? Well,
With visuals that would definitely leave a Blender student with a big F on their assignment. The Little Songbird and IMDb had similar thoughts. What a lovely name, eh? Little Songbird.
Even badly coloured crayon pictures have more refinement than this. And the music sounds like it's from a low-budget slots game.
This sad backdrop we're looking at is Raceopolis. Yes, I know the title says Roadopolis, but I think they forgot the title of their own movie, so they changed the name in the movie. Am I expecting too much of Video Brinquado to know the name of their own movie? But you definitely know we're in trouble when the credits spell the word script wrong. But I guess these rip-off movies fooled some people, because one of my team members, Phoenix Star, remembers getting this movie from their grandmother when they were a kid.
I did indeed get these movies when I was a kid from my grandmother. And back then, they were the closest things to the Cars movies that I could possibly get. And I really did not mind at the time, because I still had a lot of fun watching these movies. And even to this day, I feel kind of nostalgic for them as a result. They're definitely very flawed in a lot of ways, but I still have a lot of nostalgia for them because of the history that I have with them.
So in this episode of Raceopolis, Roadopolis, whatever, the pale green van falls in love with the purple van. But I think there's something wrong with me, because I was actually kind of invested in their romance. Is that weird? I don't know. I mean, at least the original Cars 2 didn't have that subplot. Yeah, I know, my expectations are very low at this point. Give me this. But of course they complete this abysmal ripoff with an abysmal cliche. The ever-tiring misunderstanding cliche. For some reason, a paper is published saying the pale green van thinks the orange car cheated in a race. Who would read that? Who cares?
It wasn't a scam, I know that.
The biggest lie is that I could ever think of you as a friend.
Apparently this happened because the pale green van dated the purple van, and the purple van is a journalist? So the pale green van thinks the purple van betrayed him.
Just steer clear of me from now on.
Oh, I'm so invested. Then this misunderstanding is followed up with another misunderstanding. Because the original misunderstanding was just so compelling, and who the hell cares anymore? Because you see, the purple journalist van's story was twisted into a gossip piece to sell more car papers to other cars. Am I dying? Maybe I'm just having a complete nervous breakdown. This makes no sense. But hey, the melodrama
like
may be
this,
bad,
I
but
feel
at
like
least
we
we
are.
have the thrilling driving. 44 minutes may seem like a short runtime for an entire animated movie. But when your story is mostly random nonsensical ramblings on a sky backdrop, I tell ya, 44 minutes is hell. In fact, 44 minutes was too much for them. They had to split it into 3 mini-stories. But I have good news if you are part of the 0.00001% of other people, aside from me, who are actually invested in the Little Car 2 romance.
I'm good.
The pale green van combo apologizes to the purple van Simone, and they forgive each other. Hooray, I was so invested.
It's okay. I understand why you doubted me. I'm just glad that you can believe in me now.
I didn't listen because I was so angry.
There is 2 other stories, but I assure you it is not worth your time to go over them. To summarize very quickly, Combo the green van trains to do deliveries faster, and he gets faster. That's literally it. And the third quote-unquote story has Combo and Chris having a weirdly deep discussion on the skin-deep nature of car beauty. Oh my jeeps. Why? Chris gets a paint job for a car fashion disco ball. Oh, we're moving on. That's it. Oh, this one's a rough one. Dalmatians 2. What do you mean it's Dalmatians 1? It says there, Dalmatians 2. Alright, fine, we'll talk about Dalmatians 3 as well. Despite Dalmatians 3 being a sequel to Dalmatians 1, they just decided to name it 3 because Dingo Pictures is weird like that. There was originally a Dalmatians 1 on PlayStation 1, but they re-released it on PS2 as Dalmatians 2. Makes sense of that. Therefore, the sequel to Dalmatians 1 became the Dalmatians 3. What? And as Felon pointed out in his review, for some reason it's Dalmatians 4 on the Wii? These rip-off companies are freaking weird. In fact, this whole Dalmatians movie franchise is some of the most cursed, abysmal mockbuster animation I've ever seen. You think Video Brinquado is bad? You think Asylum Pictures is subpar? They are freaking legendary auteurs in animation compared to Dingo Pictures. It's that bad. For many years, the phrase went through my head. They can't look any worse than that.
Oh, trust me,
Dingo
they
Pictures
will.
proved me wrong. I'm not gonna say this is the worst animation I've ever seen. Unlike something like Mega Babies, it doesn't make me feel sick to look at it. But I will call it among the laziest animation I have ever seen. And the voice acting, my goodness. A voice performance only a mother could love.
No way. I would fire them on the spot for that voice acting. It's appalling.
Okay, so not even a mother would love this voice performance. I just don't get how.
Like, I don't know why, but this, like, animation style, like, looking at this, is this where that meme came from? You know, yee. Is that where it's from? I mean, it looks similar. I don't know. Ugh. Man. After this, gotta take a breather.
Our company can hire such broken, non-speaking English voice actors when you have tons of up-and-coming voice actors willing to work for free on the internet. Voices.com, free fan dubbing websites, they all sound better than this.
But honey, this movie was made in 1997. None of those web services existed back then.
Oh, get this though. In Dalmatians 3, the dogs literally go on the internet during the movie by stealing their owner's laptop.
What?
I know, right? I tell you, these movies are freaking cursed. What's the story? You won't believe this twist. So get this, the puppies go missing and they end up working in a slaughterhouse for pigs. Like, did you honestly expect me to say that? Props to you if you could predict that plot twist. I mean, all baseball hot dogs have to go through this at some stage, but it's a bit like if in Charlotte's Web we had a chapter where Charlotte failed to make Wilbur impressive, and we watched Wilbur get, prepared for Thanksgiving dinner. And I have so many questions. What pig farmer was cool with giving their pigs to dogs running their own meat processing plant? They're dogs, what about basic meat hygiene standards? I'm overthinking this. The bulldog rescues the puppies and they eventually find the dogs with the help of the crow narrator. And as you can see, Dalmatians 3 has a picture on the front of knockoff Cruella, who will never actually be featured in any of this movie. So I don't know who the hell that is on the cover. Dalmatians 3 gave us misleading thumbnails 10 years before YouTube was a thing. In Dalmatians 3, the puppies are caught stealing gingerbread cookies and arrested. Okay. I mean, you do the crime, you do the time, I guess. Even if you're a dog, apparently. Our friend with the lovely name Little Songbird summarized this movie well.
Flat, recycled and creepy character animation with a very cheap mix between MS Paint and watercolors. Disjointed story with one of the worst scripts ever written. These Dalmatian movies are irredeemably bad rubbish. 1 out of 10. I don't like it.
Our next abysmal sequel is A Car's Life 3. The Royal Heist. I didn't see any heist happen. That would imply something actually happens in this movie. Apparently, one sequel to A Car's Life just wasn't enough. In fact, for some reason, let's make 4 of them. Possibly more, they're really hard to keep track of. Some people say life is a highway. A Car's Life 3 is more like a dirt pit that your car gets stuck in. You rev and rev, but you don't go anywhere. I never understood this obsession with mockbuster car movies. We've got Cargo, A Car's Life, Little Car. Why is there so many of these? Are cars just easier to blend into 3D than animals or humans? quite possibly.
Maybe?
But what is the most notable thing about this quote-unquote royal heist? I mean, I liked the voice acting better than Finding Jeeves 2, though I suppose a -1,000,000 out of 10 is an easy standard to beat. At least it sounds like the voice actors are having some fun with their silly car accents.
Yes, indeedy, Speedy.
Oh, cars don't need that fancy goo.
At least they're not trying to sell me a religion, at least they're not being racist. But holy cow, is this movie slow. They may be having fun, but these poor voice actors just have nothing to work with here.
Those cold winters were tough on my fan belts. Sheesh.
And there's like 1 to 3 tinny music tracks through the whole movie? Even the sad desert backdrops look like cardboard cutouts. And these lifeless cars just jiggle around to imply dialogue. No big heist happens, that's false advertising. They mostly just sit around talking. So little happens in this movie that it's hard to figure out any plot structure. I think Sparky is having to decide what to do for his future, as he'll never be a professional racer. Hint, hint.
I'm going to be a professional racer.
But a charity drag race is being planned and Sparky's gonna race.
I feel more like I'm listening to a crappy audiobook.
Honey, that is an insult to crappy audiobooks everywhere.
Pretty much.
Did you find any part of this movie interesting?
Well, this part of the movie was pretty surprising.
Yeah, this sad innuendo was probably the most entertaining part of the movie.
Oh, so this is how car babies are made.
So, how can I do you?
I'm starting to suspect that by the third movie, Sparkplug Studios knew that no actual kids were watching these movies. It was mostly just weirdos like me reviewing these movies, so hey, why not have a bit of fun with it? It's like a train wreck. I just can't look away for morbid curiosity of what horrific garbage pile is going to shamble on screen next. It's mostly just these cars standing around, doing nothing but talking. The camera pans a little bit as these cars yammer in place. What part of these sad movies said, hey, let's make 3 more of these? Clearly the first one was so good. The first one was my worst animated mockbuster 10 years ago. How did we get here? Jeez, is this partially my fault? Sorry in advance if it is. I guess for the whole 2 people that bought these DVDs in order to make fun of them on their YouTube channel, there wasn't much of a huge budget for anything. Probably the most interesting part on the side is the shaky relationship we're watching between these 2 cars.
Hi, Zipper.
Hi, honey.
Why do I get so invested in these stupid car relationships? It's probably because the only sense of humanity I get from the movies.
I guess you could say the relationships were cathartic.
Bro.
The plus is, of all the rip-offs we've reviewed, this one probably has the most fun with voice acting.
Excuse me.
Ironically funny, yes, but I was left laughing. You want to see a weird sequel? I'll give you a weird sequel. Jungle Master 2, Candy Planet. Mom, can we go see Jungle Book?
But we have Jungle Book at home. Nan bought it. See?
Yeah, but that's not really Jungle Book, that's Jungle Master. Don't worry, I'm sure the Jungle Master series will be just as good as Jungle Book. It's the great heralded sequel to
Jungle animals in decidedly non-jungle situation.
Ironically, there's no jungle animals in these movies. It's mostly people. In the second one, there's walking candy. It gets really weird. Our hero is Rainy, aka not Mowgli. She's transported from Earth to a jungle planet where she doesn't meet Baloo. No, she meets Blue. Completely different.
No time to explain. You run that way. I'll distract him.
And I'm sorry, I'm afraid I can't help you unsee Blue.
He's very ugly. Is he an alien?
Well, they really don't explain well what he is.
Wonder what happened to that strange blue boy.
We find out later he's from a tribe called the Loomers.
Is this the first
Blue, you are a loomer like us.
Wait.
Anyway, I doubt you care about his backstory. Interestingly, he's voiced by Josh from Drake and Josh, and he's Christopher Lloyd's adopted grandson.
He's my grandson, and he's shaky in his boots.
What is with Christopher Lloyd voicing in all these abysmal animated movies?
You got me. I guess.
And Tori from Victorious voices Rainy.
Oh boy, that was weird.
So obviously, with star voice acting like this, the voice acting is not a 0 out of 10, or minus a million out of 10 in Finding Jeeves' case. There's actual effort behind the lines, though it does sound like the dialogue's been put through Google Translate 12 times before being read out underwater and with the lights out.
Excuse me? Did you just say something?
No, I was talking about my dagger.
Jungle Master is actually pretty different to Jungle Book. It's more like if someone got a bunch of random 3D assets and dumped them all in the jungle with some celebrity voice actors thrown in. Though honestly, I actually found all the vivid colors in these two movies kind of pretty, and I'm easily won over by the forest setting. The forest and island settings are my favorite settings in all of fiction. Yeah, it's no Pixar movie, but saying this doesn't have 1/100th the budget of a Pixar movie may well be an understatement. The animation itself originates from China, as you might have noticed from the Hanzi Chinese writing on the wall. Jungle Master 2 starts off similar to Jungle Book 2, before going completely off the walls. Rainey returns to the forest, but unlike Mowgli, just for a summer vacation visit.
I mean, if I have to do homework, how's it vacation?
But then everything just goes wild and turns into an incomprehensible trip through a candy planet, where Rainey's mum and half the other characters turn into chocolates. And lots of talking alien candies cause a ruckus. It is really weird. It's basically just Josh and Victorious messing around and chatting nonsensical broken dialogue for 60 minutes.
Hey, Rainey, is this the test that Gordon mentioned?
Yeah, I guess so.
With lots of colour and movement to distract the kids, it is harmless enough. But interestingly, despite the celebrity voice actors, these movies had a complete radio silence when they were released in the Western world. Even on Common Sense Media, not one child or adult reviewed it. Maybe I should leave a review there just to feel like a big shot. I could only find one critic review on Rotten Tomatoes. And even that was just a one-sentence summary on Common Sense Media.
This tepid animated adventure offers more questions than answers.
Yeah, tepid is the word I'd use to summarize these Jungle Master movies as well. One had a vague sense of structure, but two was just visual noise for the kids, but harmless enough. And if you'd like to share your thoughts on these animated movies, again, emphasis on your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you. Also, thank you for all the wonderful personal comments on my Autism Myths Debunked video. It's meant a whole lot to both me, Nin, and my mum.
I read so many amazing personal stories. Thank you for sharing some of your story.
Thanks for watching, and whether I see you next time or not, I'll be back. And a big thank you to my patron.
There we go. Finally got that one off my head. Jeez, that was a mess. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, because frankly, whoa, glad I missed these. Till next time, adios.